Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of Dayspring Discussions. I'm your host, Sean McGahee. In this show, we talk about movies, TV, sci-fi, fantasy, comic books. If you geek out about it, we're going to talk about it. You can listen to Dayspring Discussions on iTunes, YouTube, Podomatic, Patreon, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever, guys. While you're there, go and rate, review, subscribe, then head on over to the Facebook group or Twitter account and join in the discussion. Well, hello everyone. Hope you all are enjoying your weekend. We are having a nice relaxing day here. Childless, actually. That's right. I am joined by the lovely Miss Lisa Locke McGahee. Enjoying a childless house for now.
I know, it's nice and quiet. No one's demanding food.
Nobody's demanding snacks. We won't have to fight about bedtime tonight. That's your sister's problem tonight.
I know, for one night.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you're enjoying your weekend. But, of course, as per usual, since Lisa's here, we are obviously going to talk some Star Wars. So it is time for the latest installment of Dayspring Discussions Book Reports Star Wars Edition. Today, we're talking Paul S. Kemp's Lords of the Sith. Now, this one came out in 2015, one of the earlier books of the new canon that was done with Lucasfilm after the acquisition from Disney. Now, Kemp himself is no stranger to Star Wars books. He's written several Old Republic books, and then he also had a passage in the From a Certain Point of View book that was a compilation of a bunch of writers all together set within the confines of the first Star Wars movie. But Lisa, you like to read these books and tell us all about them, so please tell us about Lords of Sith.
So Lords of the Sith takes place not long after the start of the Empire. I mean, I think it's about...
It's only a couple years after...
Yeah, like maybe a year or two.
A couple years after Revenge of the Sith, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty early on in terms of, like, Vader being Vader and the Empire. A lot of the galaxy is still adjusting to how the Empire is kind of taking, like, how they are perceived by the galaxy, because when the end of the Clone Wars came, most of the galaxy was caught pretty much, kind of off guard by what, happened, because it was like all of a sudden it was over and nobody really knew what happened. And now we have this emperor, but the emperor was the guy who was already
He was already
chancellor.
in charge.
He was already in charge. But now there's like all these changes, and all of a sudden now there's this Darth Vader, and everyone's like, but what happened to the... I mean, people were pretty confused, I think, generally. But really, this story takes place... like we said, about a year or so. I mean, it says it's 14 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Which would have been maybe about 4 to 5 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, so it's maybe, a few years after. Anyway, the moral of the story is the Empire is still pretty new. And people are still trying to kind of get a foothold. This is where, at this point in time, the Empire is starting to take over more stuff. Like, kind of exerting its power over the star systems a little bit more aggressively, and people are starting to get a sense of Vader, like who Vader is, what he's doing, how he's kind of the what's the word I'm thinking of? The person who
he's like a ghost,
throws the hammer down, the enforcer.
Yeah,
he's kind of like the Emperor's enforcer.
Yes.
So people are they're starting to see him. Everyone is obviously already really, really afraid of him. So anyway, the story takes place mostly on Ryloth, which is the home of the Twi'leks. Mm-hmm. So, that planet and the Twi'lek people are definitely not new to Star Wars. I mean, in lots of the new canon, it's, everyone knows about Cham Syndulla, who was the leader of the Free Ryloth movement, which we know who they are from back earlier. I mean, you see them during the Clone Wars time period, whatever. Everyone knows that Cham Syndulla is Hera Syndulla of from Rebels. It's her dad. So the story takes place mostly on Ryloth. It kind of twofold is about Cham and his people still basically being... They're trying... It's kind of... He has kind of an inner dilemma because he still wants to just be about Ryloth. He's not thinking about the bigger picture. He wants to still be free Ryloth. Not free the Empire galaxy from the Empire, just free Ryloth. But he's kind of torn because the more that he sees about what the Empire is doing, he's starting to think, well, maybe I need to look at this from a bigger picture. This isn't just about Ryloth anymore. It's about the whole galaxy being freed from this, this tyranny. So you get a lot of, the inside of his movement, the other Twi'leks that worked with him in the Free Ryloth movement, what they're doing to try to take down Vader and the Emperor. Basically, they find out that Vader and the Emperor are coming to Ryloth, and they basically have a plan to try to kill them is their goal. You also learn a little bit about the way that the governors that police the different star systems, the way that a lot of them are super corrupt, and then you see a lot of the corruption already within the Empire in terms of the lieutenants and generals and whatever, I don't know all those military designations, but all the leaders basically of the military and all the little inner turmoil. Everyone's playing somebody else to try to get something else. And then obviously a big part of the book is just Vader and the Emperor basically trying to get back home, on Ryloth. And so it's a lot of just interplay between the two of them, which is really interesting. I know it's been a while since you read this one. Do you what are your memories of it? The biggest things that you took away from it?
Yeah, so I read it when it first came out. I haven't read it since, and I just remember I do like it because it does show a lot of that Vader Emperor relationship, especially in the earlier years. Vader or Anakin or whoever you want to call him is still getting used to the suit a little bit too. Getting used to the dark side and what he should be doing and what he feels like he should be doing versus something inside of him that is telling him, to fight against it almost too. But yeah, a lot of what I took from this is, like I said, the relationship between them. And of course, the ending, is probably the most standout part of it when you just see that, Vader is or Anakin or again, whatever you want to call.
He's Vader now.
He's going darker and down the dark path, of course. And he's already there and he's just going further into the darkness.
Yeah, basically all the parts that are, at the very beginning, you get a lot of, Vader, like you said, he's still getting used to his suit. So there's times where he's still trying to he's talking about the different things that his suit can do and how it helps him. But you do see that it hasn't been that long. You can tell that it hasn't been that long that he's been Vader because he still fights a lot with memories of his past, of Anakin's past. He talks and thinks about Ahsoka. He thinks about Padme. He thinks about Obi-Wan. He still has those memories of his Anakin life there on his mind. And, the overarching part of the story has to do with the Emperor. Basically, this whole story, he's just training Vader. He's manipulating him. He's, and you can see even by their inner thoughts that you hear in this, Vader's especially, that he knows everything that the Emperor says to him is a test. Every single thing.
Yes.
There's nothing that you can just take that the Emperor says at face value. So Vader is constantly, every time the Emperor says anything to him, he has to think about, what does this mean? What is he trying to say? What is he trying to do? What does he want me to say? So Vader understands and that he has to figure it out. And he knows he's being tested. But a lot of the testing in this is basically the Emperor trying to get Vader to fully let go of his past, so that he can so he can completely fall, completely take into the dark side. Which I think is interesting in that, you look at Anakin as a Jedi, it was the same thing. The whole thing was about him letting go of his past.
Yeah.
And so even whether he was in the light or in the dark, his biggest flaw is that he can't let go. He's unable to let go of his past.
Yeah, we talked about that last week or something, wasn't it?
I don't know, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But, in this one it's the same thing, but as Anakin, it was about, he couldn't really follow the Jedi because he couldn't let go of his past before he was a Jedi. And then now that he's on the dark side, he can't fully be to the dark side because he still has that, that those memories of his human life, his non-Vader life, that kind of, they still, it's like a little ties that still tether him to Anakin, which we know never go away, obviously, since
yes.
he has his redemption, and it's all about that. It's because he never fully let go of his love for Padme and the love for his child. He thought it was a child, but the child he never met. And then, so anyway, it's really interesting to see how, basically the half of the story is just the Emperor and Vader walking through Ryloth, just freaking killing everything and everyone.
Yeah, they're trying to avoid assassination, so they're fighting off what do you want to call him?
It's a lot of it is just like the native animal life of Ryloth. You know, the other people. Like it's just they just basically are going through
everything,
just killing everything.
Exactly. All right. So, what did you think about this book? Because, like I said, it's a second read for you. Mm-hmm. So, what did you take away from your second read versus your first read? How do you feel about it now and then?
I like it a lot better this time through than I did the first time through. The first time through, I don't know if at the time because it was, you know, kind of early in the new canon. Like maybe I don't know. Maybe I read it too quickly, or I didn't really think hard enough about it. I don't know. But this time through, I really liked it a lot better. I had a lot better understanding of I think the way that the Empire worked and the way that Vader and the Empire or the Emperor communicated. And maybe it's just because I've watched the Clone Wars so much more now that I have a better understanding of Anakin as Anakin where Vader trying to lose Anakin, to rid himself of Anakin is a little bit more impactful to me now. I don't know, but I definitely liked it way better than I liked it the first time through. The first time I read it, I wasn't a huge fan. I liked it okay, but I didn't love it. This time, I really liked it a lot better. I also really enjoy all the stuff with the Twi'leks. I think, especially since you got to know a lot more about Champs and Villa,
exactly, it
really helped just understanding him and his people, and, I liked that stuff too.
Okay, so of course,
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't want to know.
I can't keep rating them.
No. Okay. Now you said last week that Catalyst was kind of down there in the ones that you have reread. Mm-hmm. So is this towards the top, towards the bottom?
I think it's kind of in the middle. It's not one of my favorites, but it's not one of my least favorites either. I would say it's probably somewhere in the middle for me.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. All right, guys. Well, that is it for today. If you have read Lords of the Sith, fire back, of course, on the social media groups and Gmail account. Let us know what you think. And if you haven't, go ahead, pick it up, read it, and tell us what you think. So what's next on your list?
I have to look. Hold on, let me pull up the...
I think it's Tarkin, isn't it?
I think it might be Tarkin.
Because if I'm looking at the chronological
let me see. I have it right here.
It says after, because you've already read Ahsoka.
Yeah, Tarkin is next. Tarkin takes place at the same time as this one.
Okay.
Is what it says. They both are 14 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Okay.
So yeah, after Tarkin's next, and then Most Wanted, which is a solo.
Which is the solo.
And then A New Dawn, which is one of my very favorites. So.
Oh, well, that'll be good. All right, guys. Well, that is it for us today. Hope you go out, enjoy your weekend, read Lords of the Sith, and until next time, may the Force be with us all.